This is the Right All podcast, recording from my car edition, Tuesday the 7th of June 2016. This is another reading from the Mad Jewess with a guest post from David Ben Moshe. What a true conservative means. So, as you'll probably know by now, I'm going to read through it and then jump off on tangents as I see things that I want to comment on. So, What a True Conservative Means by David Ben Moshe on the madjewess.net, link below. How many times do we hear that Donald Trump is not a true conservative? Just what is a true conservative? This is what a true conservative, such as Jeb or George Bush, Mitt Romney, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Rick Santorum, John McCain, John Kasich, and so many others is. A true conservative is someone who is against abortion but won't do anything about it. A true conservative is someone who is against fag marriage but won't do anything about it. A true conservative is someone against illegal immigration but won't do anything about it. A true conservative is someone who is for a balanced budget, but won't do anything about it. A true conservative is someone who is for smaller government, but won't do anything about it. A true conservative is someone who is against all of our jobs going overseas, but won't do anything about it. A true conservative is someone who is against Obamacare, but won't do anything about it. I guess Donald Trump is not a true conservative. Trump wants to try and build a wall to keep illegals out. Trump wants to ban new Muslims from entering the country. Trump wants to cancel Obamacare, and Trump wants to bring jobs back here. If that's not conservatism, I'll take whatever it is that you want to call it. That's David Ben Moshe. Now, one note that I want to make on this. No one really knows what Donald Trump wants. We can make reasonable guesses. He does seem to be pretty committed to the whole building of the wall. He is, I think it's very fair to say that he does want to reduce regulations, and he certainly wants to negotiate trade deals that reduce the incentives for American businesses to take their operations overseas. But beyond that, I think it's getting into dangerous territory when anyone says, I know what Donald Trump wants to do, especially on the Muslim immigration ban. What Donald Trump is very good at, and this makes him no better, no worse than any other politician, is saying things that allow other people to project onto him their own heart's desires. What Donald Trump did do is mention in a roundabout way the idea of a ban on Muslim immigration. Now, what this might be is that Donald Trump knows that the most he can do, or perhaps all he needs to do, is to mention it and allow the political forces to rise if there's enough political support for it. If we go back to his original statements in his announcement that he was running for president, he said really only a couple of things about Mexico, a couple lines, but because no one had talked about it, and because there'd been many years, really decades of resentment about the open borders immigration, that was sufficient to bring to the surface the vast untapped political resource of people who wanted to vote for a candidate who's in favor of restricting immigration and building a wall on the Mexican border. So, I personally find it difficult to believe that Donald Trump himself is very serious about a ban on Muslim immigration. But what I think is a more reasonable guess is that he's open to the idea, but he really wants to see how much support that idea really has. He can see that a lot of people want to build a wall on the Mexican border, but I think it remains to be seen whether that kind of overwhelming support on immigration translates into support for a ban on Muslim immigration. I really hope it does, of course, but I don't know that one can say with great certainty that Donald Trump wants to ban new Muslims from entering the country. I think a lot of people hope that that's what Donald Trump wants. And I think, more to the point, that a lot of people should hope that many other people want that too. Because if there is such a groundswell for it, then Donald Trump certainly wouldn't get in the way of it. At least those are all the indications that we've got. So I just wanted to point that out, not as any kind of rejection of the policy, but just to point out that even if you really, really like the candidate, even if you think the candidate is doing amazing stuff, even if you think the candidate is doing God's work, it's always dangerous to project onto the candidate your own heart's desires. So, just a little thought to bear in mind. Anyway, this has been Alex from the Right Old Podcast, recording in my car edition, Tuesday the 7th of June 2016. Stay safe in the sane world. Over and out.